Good afternoon and welcome. We are going to get started in just a minute. We're excited to share with you some new features that Google has rolled out over the past few months that we can utilize this fall. So we'll let a few additional people join and then we'll get started. Okay, good afternoon. Thank you for joining us today to learn about several new Google tools and features that are available at NC State. Google has definitely had a busy summer rolling out new functionality, and we're thrilled to be able to share some of these updates with you. We will start with introductions. I'm Katie McInerney. I'm the training coordinator with the Office of Information Technology, and I help organize various training events on campus and lead workshops on Google and security topics primarily. Don Schmidt is also with us today, and Don is our resident Google guru. He's been with the university for a long time and through the entire Google conversion, so we are excited to have him with us today. I'm sure many of you have attended his workshops in the past, and if you haven't, hopefully you'll be able to sign up for some of his sessions this fall. But he will be sharing a few of his favorite new features during the session today as well. As for today's agenda, we are going to start by providing a very brief overview on the Hangout on Air platform, and we'll show you how you can submit questions throughout the next hour. We will also be walking through 8 new features, and they are listed on the screen in front of you. We're going to spend some quality time providing an overview of the new functionality and also demoing and showing you a sneak peek at most of them. We will have time at the end of the session to answer any questions that may be submitted during the HOA. And then we will conclude with upcoming training opportunities and contact information. So let's start off with a very brief overview regarding the HOA platform and how you can use the Q&A app to submit questions. From your screen, if you hover over the top right side or part of your screen, you can click on the grid. And the grid will show you that you have a Q&A app as an option. If you select Q&A, then you'll see a column appear on the right-hand side of your screen. And this will allow you to type in questions and to submit them during the session. So all you have to do is click on that green button to ask a new question, type it in and click enter, and then the question will appear. Other participants of the HOA will be able to see the questions that are submitted, so keep that in mind. You can also vote on which questions you would also like to have answered at the end of today's HOA. So please feel free to use that. Note that this app only allows participants to enter questions. Instructors are not able to respond to the questions through the app, so we will have to address any questions that are submitted verbally at the end of the presentation. All right. Well, Don is going to start us off today. He's going to walk us through some of his favorite new tools and functionalities that Google has rolled out with this summer. So I'm going to go ahead and pass him the mic, and he'll kick us off.
Thank you, Katie. Hope everyone out there is enjoying their lunch. We have one question submitted already. We'll get to that at the Q&A time. Want to introduce you to a couple of new things that Google has to offer. The first one is the details option within the doc slides and sheets. And this is basically to help you understand, you're looking at a document, you kind of want to, what is this document, where does it live, and who owns it type of thing. And it's very simple to use. If you just open up a Google Doc, now you have to be inside of a Google Doc, and here we are, we're looking at a Google Doc, and we come up here to File, and we slide almost all the way down to the bottom over here to click on Document Details. And there you go. We can see that this document lives in a folder that's named What's New with Google. Apps Launch and Learn. It's owned by me and it was created on this date. So that gives you kind of a thumbnail of some information about the doc. Very handy if you just need a quick thumbnail about the information. Now, if you need more information about a document or a folder or something like that, there's another way that you can do this. If you go to your Google Drive, and here I'm loading up the Google Drive here, and I'll find a resource that I'm interested in. Let's just say I've got this spreadsheet down here. I have absolutely no idea what it is, and I want to know some information about it. If I highlight it and I right click on it and and I select View Details, it will get me to the detail page. But the other way of doing that same thing is once you highlight it, if you come up here to the top and click on the Information Details button, you'll click on that. And this brings you to two categories of information about that resource, whether it be a document or a folder or whatever. The first one is activity, and this basically is a history of the document, who created it, when it was created, and who's touched it ever since then. The next part is the details, and it will give you a little preview of what the document looks like. Very importantly, it shows you here who this document is shared with, and information about the document, what type of document it is, how large it is, where it's located, and the dates it was created and modified. And down here at the bottom, there's a place where you can add your metadata to the document, so you can put some search terms or descriptors, that type of thing in it. So that's how to find out more details about your document. But the details option is just to get the quick overview. Hopefully that's helpful to you and it'll be useful to you in some way or another. The next thing is we like to copy files with our Google services. We're copying them all the time. We were working on a project last semester and we want to work on the same project again next semester. So rather than recreating the wheel, we'll just copy the document from the last semester, rename it to this one, and store it in a new file for next semester or something like that. Well, Google's made this a lot easier to do now. So again, if you just go inside a Google Doc and you're looking at your document here, and you come up to your file. See, I'm up here at File on the main menu, and I want to make a copy. I click on Make a Copy, and I get a brand new interface. This is kind of cool. First thing up here, it tells you you're copying a document, and you can rename it right here if you want to. So if I wanted to do this for the spring of 2017, I could just go in there and change that to spring of 2017, however I want to. Now, since you're creating a new document from them, the comments that are embedded in the old document that you're copying from will not transport over. And that's correct because you're starting off with a new document. The next thing you might want to do is, where will this new document live? So in the folder down here, it currently tells you what folder it lives in. And if you want to have it in the same folder, that's just fine. If not, you can click on this back arrow and keep going back and forward if you want to find the folder that you want to put it in. If you don't have a folder that you want to put it in right now, you can come down here to the bottom and create a brand new folder to put it in. So very handy little tool, very simple and easy to use, helps you keep your stuff organized and takes a little bit of the drudgery out of the old way of having to copy and paste and rename and all that kind of stuff at different times and different locations. So I hope you'll find that also very helpful. The next thing I want to talk about is a brand new feature in Forms. And if you're and do anything with making quizzes and tests and doing scorings and things like that, this will just save you endless amounts of work and endless amounts of time, just make life easier for you. And it's called Quizzes and Forms. And it only works for multiple choice, check boxes, and drop downs, but that's mostly what you do in quizzes anyway. So here's how we do it. I'm going to start from scratch. I've got a brand new form right here, and I'll just give it a hokey title here, and here we go. And I'm going to add a new element. I'll just call this question 1. I'm very inventive, as you can tell. But what I want to do is when I start off from the very beginning, you want to be sure to start off this way before you actually put it in process. As you go through your general setup feature, that's old, that's always been there. Your presentation options, that's all that's always been there. And here's the new one, the quizzes feature. And what you want to do is you want to turn the quizzes feature on. So you're saying, I want to make this form a quiz. And then you get some options down here. I can immediately release the grade after each submission. So when someone hits the submit button after they've taken the quiz, they can go look at their answers right away. Or you can say later, perhaps you want to receive all the quizzes and you want to grade or look over all the quizzes before you release them back to the participants to see. So you can do that, and then you can come back and change back and forth if you want to. Then you have options down here to allow the participants to see the questions that they missed, also see the questions that they got correct, and any points value. So we'll save that, and we'll come up here and we'll start constructing our little quiz. So here's question number 1, and here's option number 1, and option number 2, and option number 3. So I've got this question and the possible answers selected right here. So now as the instructor, I'll come down here to the answer key. And what I will do is I will select which one is the correct answer. So that's the correct answer. So you see a little green check mark over there. And if they get it right, you can award them points for it. Let's say they get 10 points for getting this one right. And perhaps we want to give them some feedback too. So I click on this feedback option. Now, if they get it wrong, maybe we want to give them a little note. And you can put links in there too. You can add a link in there if you want to go to a resource page, say, sorry, go to this page and reread the exercise and come back and take the test again later on or something like that. So you can just add a link right there to wherever you want it to go. And you can also, what if they get it wrong? What do I want to do? I mean, if they get it correct. So we can give them a nice little note right there, and we'll save that. And then you just go on for whatever more questions if you want to. You just keep right on going. And at some point in time, you're going to make it live. So we'll go out there and preview it. We'll try this one and see what happens. So I can view my score, and it says, uh-oh, I got that one wrong. And down here it says, sorry, try again. And if I had to put a link into it, that was show me where to go to do my research to keep up with what's going on. And I want to come back and try another response. So let's try this one this time, and we'll submit that one, and I'll look at my score. Hey, I got it right. Look at that. And I got a little pat on the back down here to go with it. And you can see I was awarded 10 points for getting that right. That's really a cool tool to use. And also you can come up here and look at your responses. So I've gotten 11 responses. You can see we've been playing with this a little bit before we started today. And here's where the charts of how the responses were. Now I can look at individual responses too. So I can look at response number 1 and number 2 and number 3 and number 4 and all the way on down to see what's going on and who got what and how well they did. I can also look at it in the spreadsheet mode if I want to, and I can post this to a new spreadsheet and see how things are going over there. And there you go. And of course, if this has been a complete form and we were collecting their names and other demographic information, we'd have that to go along with it. So when I looked at the individual scores, I could see what Mary or Billy did, that kind of stuff. Great little feature. If you're in the testing business, should save you just tons and tons of time. Any questions, just post them out there on your message board and we'll take a look at them later. The next thing is we want to talk again in forms about how to put images related to questions and answers. Now here's where the problem came from. In the past, when you developed a form, if you had images in the form, the image, you'd insert an image, then you'd insert an input item or a question or whatever, and they weren't related to each other. So if you turn the shuffle feature on, or if you dragged and dropped your questions around to different locations, the picture didn't go with it. So you had a lot of problems with keeping the picture and the question together. So we'll show you how they fixed that. And it's fun to use, really. So we'll click on a new form right here. We'll make a sample form, and we'll just start off right here. And we'll, on the first question right here, say, and I want to add a picture to it, and I'll go here, and I'll select that. And then I'll come down here and say option 1 is, and then option 2. And whatever else I want to put in there. And then when I look at it live, this is a picture of, and then you take your, now think about this too, what we just went over too about the quizzes. If we actually made this a quiz, we can do both of these things now. So we can make this a quiz as well as put images in it. Now here's another way that you can do it. Let's add another question here. So which is your favorite down here? Now for option number 1, let's add an image. And let's say we'll put that in there. And then for option number 2, and of course you can go out and get your images from about anywhere that you want to. So you don't have to use these little canned images. This is just a brief demo. And we'll add an image right there. Now we've got it all loaded up. So if we go up here and look at our live view, here we go. This is a picture of your choices. 1, people, places, or things. And the second question is, which is your favorite? Whatever option you want. And if I move these around, so if I come back here now and I want to reorganize these pictures, if I come down here and reverse order them, whoops, let me grab it. Come on down here. I'm going to move all the way down. Well, I don't know why it's misbehaving. Let me move the other one up. There we go. Well, I guess I got my fat thumbs out today working on that, but it's usually just simple as drag and drop it around wherever you want. But you did notice that if I did move them around, the picture and the associated picture stays with the input element. So there we go with images in the forms. The next thing I want to show you, this is a lot of fun. You'll find a lot of good uses for this. When you're doing a slideshow, there comes a time when you probably want some participation, you want some interaction with your participants out there, and maybe they want to interact with you. So while you're in the middle of your slideshow, you can give them the opportunity to interact with you by using this new slides question and answer feature. And the best way to show you this is I'll just open up a slideshow. Doesn't make any difference which one it is. This is just the Google slideshow from the Google class that we teach over here. Now, to use it, you have to be in the present mode. So you have to be in the live view mode. So here we are, we're looking at it live. Now, let me show you another brand new tool that'll help you understand this a little bit better today. If you see this new toolbar down here on the bottom, this is the brand new toolbar. I'm going to click on this little laser lightning bolt thing, and it turns my laser pointer on for me. So now you can follow me along to see where I'm going. Now what I want to do is I want to click on the presenter view option, and it opens up this little dialog box, and it gives you several options here. But what we're interested in today is the audience participation tool. So we'll highlight this one, and we click on Start New. Now, if you have a pencil handy, if you can type real quickly, you can actually participate now if you want to. Now, look what happens up here. On the slideshow, no matter what slide I'm on, it gives me this URL up here. And then we'll get back up here. I clicked on it by mistake, so we'll continue. So if you just copy that URL up there and paste it into a tab, an open tab, you will be able to see, excuse me, there we go, live view. Turn it back on, Don. Copy that, paste it over here. And you can be doing this from your location too. There's nothing secret about it. So now you can ask a question. And I can submit it as myself, or I can submit it anonymously if I want to, whatever choice that you want to. And then I can submit the question. Now the question's been, and you'll see the other folks' questions too if you leave it on that page. And then when you come back to the slideshow, if I come into presenter view, I can see over here what the question is. Also, you can use this for voting. So you can put something on your slide, do we want to do A or B? And then people can respond and they can vote on it as well. Now, watch this, we just got one presented. So I will put this up there. I hit the hide button and you can't see it. I can present the quick present button and now you can see it. So here are the questions that you can see if you want to. And the one from Gene, we can see what he had to say right there. There we go. How about that? And then we can respond right there on the way. It's just so simple. And by the way, when you're done with it, if you don't want all this go up on your screen, you just turn it off and you're back to your normal presentation view. So there we go. Now I'm going to turn it back over to Katie that's got some really fun things that you can do with some other applications.
Great, thanks, Don. Those are exciting new features I'm hoping everyone will be able to implement in your role, whether it's teaching or working on different projects or in different committees this fall. So we have a few more that we wanted to share with you this afternoon. The next is regarding embedding charts made from Google Sheets or within Google Sheets into Google Docs and slides. If you have created a chart from data that's been entered in Sheets, you can insert that chart in a document or a slideshow and update it easily if any changes are applied at a later date to the data and then to the chart. So from Docs or Slides, simply navigate to the Insert menu and choose to insert a chart. Browse through your spreadsheet files to select the chart you wish to use. And in order to update the chart, you'll just need to make sure to check the link to spreadsheet box, because that will make sure that it stays connected and that it will communicate with the original chart within Sheets. So it can then let you know if there are updates that need to be applied. So let's walk through this process together, and I can demonstrate how the entire process works. So we'll go to our example over here. I've already created a slideshow, a Google Slides presentation. And so I'm ready to insert a chart. So I'm going to go up to the Insert menu, choose Chart, and let's explore what files I have out here in Sheets. And I'm going to use this test sheet because I know it already has a chart associated with it, and then select. Then it will display however many charts are in that file, and you can choose the one that you want to insert. So this chart is referencing a t-shirt order that we have coming up. And I do want to highlight the link to spreadsheet box at the bottom of that window. Again, you want to make sure that is checked, so it will continue to communicate with the original chart. So if there are any updates made to the data, it will inform you and alert you. So we can go ahead and import this chart into our slideshow. And there's a pretty chart for everyone to see. Now, what happens if we happen to make changes to our t-shirt order file? And I've got a shortcut over to the spreadsheet here. So you'll see right now we have one white shirt that we're planning to order, 2 blue, and 3 red shirts. Now, if I happen to make a change, so maybe Sarah changed her mind and she would prefer a red shirt instead. So we can update the data. You'll see that our original or our initial chart does update and reflect the change that was made. But we have to remember that we have that chart inserted into a slideshow. So when we come back over to our slides, we'll see that the update button is now displaying. So that's telling the instructor that there have been changes made to the data. So if we click on the button to update chart, it will automatically apply the changes that were made from the destination file. So it's a very simple, very convenient option, especially if you have a lot of charts and a lot of data that you're needing to present or display. Remember, this can also be used in Google Docs. So if you're pulling in charts from Sheets for different projects or documents that you're using or that you're sharing with other people, it's a great feature to make sure your data is current. So we'll close those down. But definitely let us know if you're using any of these. We love to hear stories from campus. Typically, campus users implement changes in a very different way from each other even. So we learned from you to find out the different unique approaches that you have in place for your business processes. So definitely share those ideas with us. Okay, so let's move on to the new Google Sites. This is actually a pretty big update for the Sites interface. Google has been telling us for a long time that they have been redesigning sites, and we are finally able to see the transformation. NC State recently applied to become an early adopter of the new sites, and we were approved pretty quickly, actually. So we are actually able to experience the new sites platform before all other Google account holders can. So that's really exciting. We do want to caution our users, however, that Sites hasn't been fully developed, and so there are new features being added on a regular basis. And it helps to have that knowledge up front and to be aware of that going in to using the new sites, just so you'll be flexible with that process. And that is part of being an early adopter. So yes, you get a preview into the new application, but you will have to be a little bit more flexible as Google is continuing to develop the product. Also wanted to note here that the new sites will not impact any currently published sites that were created on the previous platform. So this is a completely separate interface and completely different from those projects. A few of the new features that you'll see in the new sites include a very user-friendly drag and drop editor, responsive layouts, and the same collaboration features that you're familiar with in other Google apps. You can access the new sites from a different location than you're used to with classic sites. You go through the Drive landing page and start from the New button and then select to create a new Google site. We also want to remind everyone that sites shouldn't be used for official university business or include any sensitive data. We also haven't been able to spend a lot of time exploring any accessibility issues that may be present in the new platform. We know there were some challenges with the classic interface, but again, we just haven't been able to take a lot of time to do a deep dive into any possible accessibility issues that might exist in the new sites. But with that said, I do want to give everyone a sneak peek at the new sites interface. So let's start from Drive. And again, we're going to go to the New button, the top left hand of your screen. Go down to the More option, and then choose Google Sites. So you see automatically any of those listeners that we have out there who have any kind of experience with classic sites, you see it's instantly a very different platform visually. If you look over on the right-hand side, you'll see three different sections: Insert, Pages, and Themes. From the Insert option, this is where you can add text boxes, images, you can upload files and documents, embed URLs to your page as well. But I'm going to start off and just give this a quick title. Let's see, Katie's test site. I am going to add a text box. And let me add an image as well. Let's see if I can find a logo. Bear with me. There we go. All right, so you can also click to drag and drop your files around your site. It's very easy to move things around and reorder all of your items. So that's a great change from the previous platform that some of you may be aware of too. And again, within Insert, Google has made it very easy and very user-friendly to be able to search within your own Google files and add those items to your site. So you can search Drive. Gives you a very easy way to do that. Let's see, we've got a few slideshows out here. I'm just going to select a slideshow and insert that into my site. You also see YouTube is an option, so you can search for YouTube videos. You can add a calendar out to the site as well. Let's see if I've got something to add out here. And then also shortcuts to all the different Google apps if you're looking for a specific form, sheet, docs, so on and so forth. You can find it very easily from the Insert tab. Moving on to Pages, this is where you would actually create any new pages that you wanted to add to your site. So very simply, click on Add Page, create a name, and then I'm going to add another page for contact info, and then done. And you can see it's building your navigation menu up in the top right-hand corner. So if you go back to the home page, let's click on Themes. Looks like we've Might need to reload here. There we go. So we can see, oh no, let's reload again. There we go. So let's click on themes and I'll show you this very, very quickly. This is where you can choose kind of the background color, the color theme that you want for your page. You can also choose the type of font style you'd like to see. If I come over to my banner, I can choose the header type. So right now I have title only selected, but if I wanted a background image or a banner, you can choose the size of that. You can also change the background image. And there is a gallery, typically of several different images you can choose from. We're running into a bit of an error, an issue here this afternoon, but you have a very long list of images to select for each page. So it's very interesting to look and see what options they have. You can also upload an image for your background for the banner, search through Google Drive if you wanted to as well. So they've provided users with several options. And a very quick peek into the top menu here. You can preview your site at any time by clicking the preview button. If I wanted to go to the home page, you can see where I added the slideshow, and users can simply click on play to progress the slides. And there is our calendar that appears. When you add calendars, you can actually decide which default view you want, week, month, or the agenda. So it's really nice to have those options as well. One more thing I definitely wanted to add on preview that they've recently incorporated into the new sites is the different device views that you can also have during the preview option. So right now you can see what a typical desktop view is like. And then if you want to preview the images and the display for a tablet or for a mobile device, you have those options too. So great feature that Google added. I'm so very glad that they've taken the time and the resources to apply to their Google Sites platform. I think it's a big win for Google, and I know a lot of account holders and Google fans have been waiting for this for a long time. A few more things before we conclude with the new Google Sites platform. Of course, just like any other Google app, you can add editors and collaborators to your Google site by simply typing in the name of the person that you want to invite. So I can add Don and send him a message and let him know that he has full editing rights to my Google site. And then finally, you are able to publish the new Google site. I know publishing was limited when we originally rolled this out to campus as an early adopter, but that has since changed. So you can now make your site visible to anyone at NCSU if you wanted to limit it just to university affiliates, or you can make it public to anyone on the web. If you would like to take a deeper dive into the new Google Sites, under the More menu, you can actually take a tour. And it will walk you through all of the different elements within the Sites platform. So hopefully you'll be able to take advantage of that. But again, let us know if you're using the new sites. Let us know what you think. Keep in mind, again, they will be rolling out new features, so we hope to see even more new options added to sites here in the near future. All right, so moving on to Inbox by Gmail. This was just made available to the university, I think last month, maybe. It's basically a different interface for Google's mail service. And we've had several requests for this over the past year and are finally able to make it available. So we're thrilled about that. It is optional. So it is up to you to decide which interface you wish to use, whether classic Gmail that we're all familiar with or the new Inbox by Gmail interface. The main difference, I think, between the two is that Inbox by Gmail attempts to organize your emails and your messages and bundle them into similar topics. It also has a snooze option, which is actually quite nice and convenient for the end user, that can move a message out of your inbox until a designated date and time that you set. Important messages can also be pinned and sorted into their own view, and reminders can be created and managed within your inbox interface as well. Note that classic Gmail uses labels, which are handled very differently than the inbox bundles. So there isn't a one-to-one correlation between the two. They aren't consistent. They're handled very differently on each platform. So if you switch back and forth between classic and inbox, the labels and bundles will be separate entities altogether. So it's really best to pick one interface and stick with it. So we are not currently offering training on Inbox. We're going to see how campus accepts it and if there's enough interest for a specific workshop. Don is our primary Gmail trainer, and so I know he's going to probably show a preview of it in his classes this fall. And again, if there's enough interest from campus users, then we might look into creating a separate workshop for Inbox later in the fall or early in the spring. So let us know what you think. We actually have an evaluation that's linked to the end of this presentation to get your feedback on today's session, but we would also love for you to include in that evaluation if you would like to see a specific workshop specifically on Inbox. I'm going to show you a very quick preview into Inbox to let you see the differences. So here is the landing page for Inbox by Gmail. And you can see if you hover over each message, you'll have a few different options available to you. The first one is to pin the inbox. You can click on pin and you'll see a blue pin that appears next to the message. So that basically means that it's important and you want to group it separately. You also have the ability to snooze a message. So you can choose when you want to snooze that message, whether it's later today, tomorrow, this weekend, next week, or you can pick a date and time. You can also trash and delete that email very quickly with that shortcut option. You can mark it as done, or there's another menu of other steps that you can take and other actions that you can take with that message. So if you do happen to snooze a message, you have the menu over on the left-hand side. You can click on snooze and see which messages are waiting in that box. You can also see any bundles that you've created over here on the left-hand side. You'll see bundled in the inbox. And I created a separate bundle for ServiceNow tickets. So I've got anything that is added to that bundle waiting for me in that area. And then finally, reminders. I did want to highlight this. I live in my calendar. If I don't have something on my calendar, then I probably don't know that it exists or that I need to be a part of it. So being able to pull some of those same calendar elements into my Gmail or into my email is going to be extremely helpful for the way I conduct my day-to-day business. And I live off of reminders. I used to love Post-it notes, but now that I've gone electronic for most of my business processes, having reminders pop up on their own within whatever tool I'm using, whether it's calendar and now Gmail, that will be a huge time saver for me. Again, there's a lot more to Inbox. There's plenty of resources available out there. Google does a great job with their support resources. So take a look out there and Google it, and I'm sure you'll find some YouTube videos and tutorials to watch. But again, let us know if you're interested in learning a little bit more about Inbox here on campus, and we can look into providing some formal training. All right, so we're going to finish up today's features with updated security measures using Google's two-step verification. And I'm sure most of you have heard of two-step by now, which adds an extra layer of security to your Google account. And this has been a hot topic on campus over the past year, as we have seen an uptick in phishing attacks and continue to receive reports of compromised accounts. So with two-step verification, users are required to enter not only their Unity ID and password, but also to authenticate using either a code, a key fob or security key, or now prompt is another way that users can authenticate. Prompt allows users to authenticate on their mobile device by simply choosing yes to a request, or they can deny the prompt request if they didn't in fact try to log into their account. Once the request is confirmed, Google automatically logs them into their account. So no code is needed, and I think this option provides even more convenience to individuals who don't want to take the time to enter a code or to have to type something else in. So once you accept the request from prompt, you are automatically logged into your account. A few things I do want to point out about this new method. If you enable prompt, it will become the default login method. Also, security keys cannot be used in addition to prompt, so you'll need to choose one or the other within your account and authentication modes or methods. And your phone must also have a screen lock set up. This is one of the basic security tips that we actually share in a lot of our security trainings, is to have some kind of a screen lock on your phone, whether it be a password or a passcode or even a pattern lock. Again, this is just basic security and protection for your device and anything that you have behind that screen lock. So it's important to protect that anyway, but it is required if you want to use prompt. Android devices must also have the updated Google Play service enabled and installed, and you must be signed into the device with the appropriate account. As for iOS and Apple devices, the Google app must be installed, which is a separate app from the Gmail application. So I want to make sure I make that clear. And the user must be signed in to that Google app. I know this is new, especially if you're new to two-step. You will be hearing more and more about required two-step depending on your role and what type of data access you have. If you have access to sensitive data for university purposes, then you will be required to enable two-step if you haven't been required to yet. So keep your eyes and ears out for that. But as always, if you have any questions about two-step in general or specifically prompt, again, there's a lot of information out there on Google support pages, and our help desk staff is always willing to answer questions. So please feel free to submit a ticket or to give them a call, and they'll be glad to walk you through the process. Speaking of additional resources, we do have several links to tutorials and other documentation that might help fill in some holes for some of the new features that we discussed today. So if you prefer videos, you have several options that are available here regarding several of the features that Don spoke about. So quizzing features and forms, adding images to questions and answers, slides Q&A. You'll see that there is a tutorial for prompt if you want to learn a little bit more about that. And again, other links to resources that are available to you. So please feel free to take some time and to look through those if you have any other specific questions. All right, so we are going to pause and take a few minutes, and we're going to look over here at the Q&A app and see what kind of questions have been submitted throughout the session. Looks like we do have a few out here, which is great. Thank you so much for submitting these. The first question is about how we're hosting today's Hangout on Air. Interesting timing of that question, but we are using Google's Hangout on Air tool, which is a wonderful option to broadcast a Hangout. However, as convenient as this tool is, it's actually changing. They will be removing the Hangout on Air option through Google+, which is how we've currently scheduled and organized these events. Obviously, you went out to Google+ and clicked on yes, that you wanted to participate in today's event, and that's the interface that we're using. However, we're going to be moving over to YouTube Live. So at the end, I believe of, well, I think it's the end of this week, YouTube is going to be the official host for Hangout on Air. So the functionality is going to be similar. I think the user experience is going to be similar, but there will be some setup differences with the configuration settings and some of that on the back end. So we are still researching and trying to figure out how that will look and what we'll need to do to change that process. Once we figured it out, we hope to be able to offer a workshop on that. I know we have a scheduling an HOA training session on our fall schedule. That obviously will be changing just a little bit once we find out the new process. So definitely keep your eyes open on our fall schedule on Classmate to see what we're going to be doing as far as updating that workshop. All right, so someone else had a question about YouTube video limitations. Unfortunately, I don't know the answers to those specific questions off the top of my head. I'm looking at Don. I'm not sure if he has any quick responses for that right now. I believe there is a website through NC State that might be able to help you. It might offer some guidance regarding YouTube video limits. Unfortunately, I just don't know what they are without doing some research myself. So definitely submit a help desk ticket if you can't find it on the website. I know we'll be glad to provide that information to you once we talk to the right department and the right group. Let's see. There's another question about sites. So if sites is not recommended for official university business, for what types of work and activities should we use the app? Sites is great for student organizations, or if you have you know, an event or a committee maybe that you wanted to use sites for, projects, anything like that. As far as official university department web pages, you know, we definitely encourage you to go to the WordPress option or route for that. But yeah, you can use sites for anything as long as it's not for official department purposes. Yeah, and Don is sharing some of his feedback as well for, you know, an online resume profile type page that might be useful too. We know a lot of faculty like to share their experiences and any right. So Don is also sharing, as long as it's not FERPA or include FERPA information or sensitive data or anything like that. So steer clear of using sites for that purpose. All right, a follow-up question about YouTube Live. Is there a limit on the number of people who could join that? As far as we know, there isn't. Again, we haven't been able to get all of our questions answered when it comes to hosting this type of event on YouTube Live. I don't believe there is a limit. But as soon as I find out, I'll be glad to share that with you. We've got some testing meetings planned internally to try to identify the differences between the HOA platform and YouTube Live. But if you want to reach out to me specifically or to our training group, we'll be glad to follow up with you on what we find out. And then hopefully we'll be able to present it in our official workshop later this fall. Okay. I think I targeted, or I was able to get to all of the questions. If you have any additional questions, please feel free to add them or enter them through the app, or as always, reach out to us separately and we'll be glad to follow up with you. Speaking of workshops, we have a full schedule for the fall. So many training opportunities available, not only for Google tools, but also other technology that we offer on campus. You'll see on the slide in front of you what our September looks like. So it's jam-packed with some really exciting workshops and sessions, and we hope you'll be able to join us for some of these. And again, this is just for September, what you're seeing now. So go out to Classmate, which will provide you with the complete schedule for the fall, and hopefully you'll be able to register and attend some other workshops in the coming months. If you are interested in having a direct link to the slideshow that we used today, we've got a Go link available for you, go.ncsu.edu/what's-new2016. This will be a live link for anyone within the university. As long as you have an NC State account, you'll be able to access that. So please feel free to reference that after today's session if you would like. And as always, we encourage you to stay connected with OIT and with our training team. We have two different Twitter accounts that you can follow, the OIT account and the Google Apps account. And of course, Google+. That's how you were able to say that you wanted to participate in today's event. We have a lot of fun with our Google Services Google+ account, and we post new features and functionality that Google is rolling out with, how it's impacting NC State. We're posting new training events and opportunities through the Google+ page as well. So if you haven't circled up with us yet, hopefully you will this afternoon and be able to follow along with everything that's taking place with Google here at NC State. Classmate, I mentioned earlier, with our complete training schedule. We also offer custom classes. A lot of people don't realize this or may not be aware that we'll be glad to come to you and to your department. So maybe you're unable to make one of our classes that we have already posted for campus, and your office or your business partners have some specific questions about one of the Google apps. We will be glad to schedule time to come sit with you and your coworkers and walk through your business processes and try to answer those specific questions. So if you are interested in a custom class, you can email us at classreg@ncsu.edu and use that email address for any questions or any comments or feedback that you wanted to provide to our OIT training team. And then finally, as I mentioned earlier, there is an evaluation. Feedback is definitely encouraged and welcome when it comes to the programs that we offer. We want to make sure that we're meeting the needs of campus and providing relevant information. So let us know what you thought about today's HOA, and also share with us any other ideas that you may have that you would like to see our training team schedule and organize for the future. And again, if you can post your feedback regarding inbox by Gmail through that evaluation form, that would be helpful too, as we gauge interest and possibly adding another inbox specific class to our rotation. All right, other than that, we want to thank you so very much for spending your lunch hour with us this afternoon. We enjoyed sharing some of our favorite new features that Google has developed over the past few months, and hope to be able to do this again in the spring. And we hope to be able to see you in person at another one of our workshops this fall, or virtually, as we do schedule other Hangout on Air and YouTube Live events throughout the year. Thanks again for your participation, and I hope y'all have a great afternoon.